Compton rolling through the SWAT. Repping for the city, hear him in the parking lot. Houston written across the jersey, ain't gon' never stop. Just fans got me tuning in, waiting for the drop. Astros, Texas, Rockets, Dynamo, they coming with it. When they pull up, got the city sitting on a fitted. Straight up A-Leaf, hold it down, ain't gon' never quit it. Just fans got me tuning in, let my dogs get it. Southwest A-Leaf, Texas, throw down here and it's so infectious. We ride for the Houston Astros, Rockets, Dynamo, and them Texans.
How's it going, everybody? It's Carlos, one of your hosts of the Just Fans podcast. And if you are a Texans fans, man, you are going through it with that Halloween game against the Jets. Rios, how are you doing today, man? Glad to have you on again, bro. What's up?
We deserve financial compensation because, man, my breath.
Help! If you're Shaq Mason, help! I've fallen and I can't get up.
It was
Poppy,
perfect,
man. How's it going, brother?
It was perfect for Halloween, bro. It was a fucking horror show. It was
nightmare.
Ridiculous.
Hey, man. First of all, I gotta say, Just Fans podcast, man. It's our own show. Us three originated this thing, and I like that we're still going strong. I know we've been a little inconsistent here and there, but everybody's got lives, and guess what? Though we're back. Everything is good, man. Glad to have you guys back. But man, you know what? We are more cohesive. We're more cohesive than that O-line. So
we will be more consistent. We're gonna drop episodes every week consistently now. Sorry for the
just have to figure out some scheduling and
we're waiting for Rios to get out of jail. It was the whole thing.
It was crazy. It was crazy. I told you.
I can't believe they found him innocent. Like I even testified against him. It was crazy.
Bro, stay out of Bissonnette, bro. I told you.
I told you, bro.
I should have knew I was in trouble when my lawyer showed up in the baggy suit. Like, oh man, I'm getting locked up for life.
And the clip on tie.
Hey, God, it's me again.
Hey, man. All right, so let's get to it, man. Texans offensive line has been the struggle. I mean, you know, it has been like, again, CJ Stroud is a pocket passer, and you're getting him. There's no pocket to pass from. Like, I don't understand. There's no pocket to pass from. CJ Stroud is a natural pocket passer. Yes, he has done better this season at throwing at the run, but I mean, at this point, he's had enough practice to throw on the run because there's nothing to protect him.
The second the ball gets snapped, my guy's already like running for his life. You got four man rush coming at him within half a second. They're already in his face. Yeah, people say like, why is he regressing so much? I'm like, bro, the only thing regressing was the offensive line.
It's not a regression though. Okay, so literally, let's talk about this because it's all over Twitter. From obviously casual sometimes that is like, all right, CJ Stroud is having a regression year on a sophomore slump or whatever. And you know what's crazy? What I've seen is that people tie it. Like, this is how crazy it is. People tie it to that moment that he, quote unquote, little broed Caleb Williams. Remember that?
Yeah,
I don't understand. I will never understand that perspective where, like, oh, y'all little broed Caleb Williams. Like, he did not. He was offering advice. And then y'all tag it up to the point where this is a moment where CJ started regressing. I've actually seen that tweet. I'm like, seriously?
Multiple
CJ,
times.
There's no regression. Look, if I'm not getting protected, and I have a bunch of dudes coming at me like this, and I'm trying to throw the ball, of course I'm going to have a little bit of PTSD because I have to watch out my blind side. I have to watch out the front. I have to do a whole bunch of things within 4 seconds.
You know, 5, 6, 7 times a game. That's what I'm going to do. Fucking throw that bitch.
Like, so see that CJ regression angle. I can't fully see it.
I don't buy it.
Yes, he's had some moments, but what quarterback doesn't? Like, he's had some moments where, like I said, he's held onto the ball here and there a little too long. He plays hero ball, but at this point, what do you expect him to do?
Forced to it, you know. And like the Miko and the coaches will go to the media and be like, "Oh, we got to play better." You know, it's from the top to the bottom. It's all across the board. We all got to play better. I'm like, yeah, but the underlying problem that everybody can see is that offensive line is held together by prayer and duct tape, bro.
It's not even because they're paid like top linemen.
We got a Super Bowl champ on there. We got Pro Bowlers on there. We got, I mean, Kenyon Green is not a rookie anymore. It's year 4, right? And he looks like he's still playing college ball, like getting bullied out there.
Could we finally admit that and it's okay to admit this because every GM has this. Can we finally admit that this is Nick Casario's bust? Like first bust?
It's a big whiff. It was a big whiff.
Especially with who was there on the board. You had a better rated offensive lineman there. You had Kyle Hamilton.
No, and Rios. Like last show, you and I discussed this, and I told you, like, I understand why they took him. You know, the O-line needed like a complete overhaul, and he was a guy that was utilized. I believe he went to A&M, right? He was utilized all across the offensive line. So it's like, okay, it's almost like a Swiss Army knife type of guy that you can just plug and play.
And now he's like Swiss
in this new era of Texans O-line. But so far, rookie year, got manhandle every chance they got. The last couple of years, he's just been injury prone. And then this year, before like the first 2 games, he looked pretty solid. Like, he's making some progress. It's going to be, maybe we talked about it, like revenge season for Kenyon Green. After that Minnesota game, it's been completely downhill from there. It's like he lost all confidence, all type of progress that he was doing, all down the drain. He's just been y'all remember the list of words I had a couple of weeks ago?
Oh, yeah. Atrocious, horrendous, abysmal.
Shit has been. It's been abysmal.
It's like from Space Jam when the monsters stole the NBA players' talent.
Dude, completely, bro. Completely. It's like you got Charles Barkley there, who can't even hit a layup. That's how bad Kenyon Green is.
Over the backboard.
Kenyon Green, opposition, turn inside out, sideways, backwards. It seems like a rap song. Like seriously,
the ball gets
ass
snapped,
up, face down. I don't know. It's like
he's already laying on his back, staring at the ceiling, dude. It's that bad.
Like, Kenyon, you haven't snapped the ball yet. Get up.
Yeah, dude. It
was a mess. Watch and like all these guys that do Texans content, some of the local media guys, they all share the exact same tape of Kenyon Green getting beat time and time and time again. We've seen it for 9 weeks. I'm sure the coaching staff has seen the exact same shit. Like, what made you think
they have a better view of what's going on?
And they still march him out there every week. It's like, I don't know if it's coming from up above. Like, hey, we can't whiff on this first round pick. But like, come on, right? Like, it was a disservice to keep putting him out there.
Yeah, agreed. I don't know.
When he got benched last week, they should have just left him that way. Like, you got benched for a reason. And they go into this Jets game on a short week, going against Quinnen Williams. Like, come on, this dude's gonna steal his lunch, his snack money, his house, his cars. He owns everything.
His family, everything.
Hell, he even took Kenyon Green's name. He's like, I'm Kenyon Green now.
I'm taking it.
He even took his Instagram account, like everything.
Dude.
They need to stay off Instagram.
And it's not just him, right? Like the whole O-line, it's been completely garbage. There's no other way to say it. Like there's not a single silver lining there. Like, yes, the first couple of weeks they had like all the penalties and they've brought that down a lot. But hell, at this point, shit, maybe because of the penalties, we weren't able to see how shitty they actually were.
It's like when people say they got the dog in them, the dog they have is courage, the cowardly dog. Like, come on, dude. Man, zero fight.
Even he would show up when he was needed, bro.
When Miriam needed him, he was there.
He was there.
Not there
this O-line is complete. It's complete. Like it's verga, chamo. Verga.
I want to share a quote by Titus Howard. And I quote, he said, Titus Howard, if we do our job, nobody will talk about us anymore.
Well, no shit, Sherlock. In other philosophical news,
what the fuck does that mean?
Sky is blue, grass is green.
Yes, that is exactly what's going to happen if you do your job.
Hey, guys, if we win, we won't lose.
Guys, if we score more points than the opposing team, we're going to win.
Like a John Madden quote.
And I know
the way to beat the other team.
Brett Favre. Brett Favre could lose his arms. Brett Favre could lose his legs, and he'd still be the best damn torso in football. Brett Favre. The late great John Madden.
And I know, like, he had to go out there and just say something, right? Because when the players are playing bad, the media's gonna hound them. They're gonna be like, "What's going on? What needs to change? All this." But why was it him?
Yeah, like I said, earlier in the week, it should be your captains out there. Laramie Tunsil, highest paid player on the team. You got to see on your jersey, man. Like that's your responsibility out there and talk to the media to own up to it, be a leader. Hey, who knows what he's up to? Taking pictures on Instagram, who knows what he's up to? But like, come on, bro. Like, it's kind of funny. Like a lot of them, they've deleted some of their Instagram pictures. They've stopped posting on there because people were calling them out for it.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. If I was the Miko, I'd be taking the cell phones away.
Right.
Okay, doing Oklahoma drills till we fucking win another game.
Like you want your phone back? I'm gonna need you to start, getting some pancake blocks. Like, come on, man.
No, but in all seriousness, I think at some point it's a level of accountability at that point. Like,
there's none right now.
You have to protect your quarterback. Like in reality, if you're a Texans fans, you clearly remember David Carr. The Texans didn't protect him. He started regressing, and then before you realize he was out. He was out of the Texans. Matt Schaub replaced him. Even when the Texans had Deshaun Watson at the beginning, he was on pace to get sacked 60-something amount of times. I can't remember off the top what the original number at the beginning. Then they actually fixed it. They actually got some O linemen that would take care of it. Right now, CJ Stroud, Reels, you have the number on that one. What is he on pace for right now for getting sacked?
He's on pace for 60 right now.
Exactly. So
higher than him right now is Caleb Williams. Caleb is on track for 63 sacks on the season.
And Caleb loves to run out of the pocket.
He does.
That's what he used to do in college.
Yeah, so he's trying to play backyard football. So it's kind of understandable why he's getting sacked.
Yeah. But CJ's a pocket passer.
He's a pocket passer.
Yeah, so he has less than 2 seconds to throw the ball, and Bobby's calling up plays that are 5-7 step drops. Like bro, what are you doing out there, man? Like,
let's let the play develop, and before you know it, the play's already over because CJ's like on the floor 20 yards back at this point.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people mention on Twitter, like not just, like Texans content creators, but like analysts from other teams. They're like, hey, you're getting a lot of blitzes and stunts. The way to negate that, hey, just spread out the offense. These condensed formations are clearly not working because you guys can't pick up simple stunts. Tight ends can't block to save their lives.
Not at all. Not at all. And like before Nico went down, I feel like Nico was like, it was kind of helping to mask the lack of time that CJ had, because every time we needed a big play, CJ would throw the ball to Nico. He would find him more often than not.
Correct.
He was the best at creating separation, and that behind him was Stephon Diggs in creating separation. Both of those guys, well, Stephon's done for the year.
Nico's done for the year. Nico might come back for next week. We're still not now.
Still up in the air.
And we're going to get completely manhandled next week, too.
It's going to be a bloodbath. It takes us back to the dark days of 2022 when we used to do content, try to find a silver lining. I can't find a single silver lining.
That time we were like, at least we're going to get a high, first round pick. We're going to start the rebuild type of thing.
But we went into the season with Super Bowl aspirations, and man, we'll be like
at the very least, like a good playoff push, right? Like it was going to be like maybe it comes down to the Texans against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship, right?
Yeah,
at this point, we're going to get bounced from the first round if we even make it to the playoffs.
And the thing about it is, like, coming up to the Texans Lions game, I think a lot of people had that game circled in their calendar, saying, "Hey, these are two
well put together
teams, well coached, that
dynamic offenses,
could be Super Bowl contenders. I remember a time when on our other show, John McClain came on and said the Texans are not Super Bowl contenders or are not contenders at all, and everybody kind of like,
I thought he was being a bit harsh, but honestly, he was right.
And so that's the thing, like, at the moment, the Texans are not contenders. They're far from it right now because of that offensive line. That offensive line is definitely holding them back. And it's a weakness that has been exposed since week 7. We had mentioned that CJ has gotten pressured. The amount of pressure has gone up exponentially. Like that word? Exponentially for quite a while, for the last 3-4 weeks. So see, and because teams have figured out the weakness in the Texans, and now with Stephon Diggs gone,
cough.
Yeah. But even King Green, Shaq Mason, who did a pretty decent job last season and holding, on the run game and even some pass protection as well. I mean, Shaq Mason has fallen off this season as well. Like, and he signed
regressed.
what, 3 years or something like that last season?
All regressed, dude. It's such a shame, dude, because
It is.
this team had the opportunity to do
even
something.
Like in that Jets game, he was getting beat. And Tunsil's getting a lead pass blocker. He's like, top 2 left tackle in the game. And he was struggling to hold his arm. Like, it just fell apart.
I think by the way, to clarify, CJ Stroud for has the most pressured quarterback in the league entering week 9 with 136 pressures.
And that was the blueprint. That was the blueprint. The
since week 1, honestly, like you guys mentioned,
since week 1, the Colts really did a good job at pressuring CJ even in that week 1. The field wasn't doing anybody any favors, but it was that Minnesota game that really showed the rest of the league, oh, this team isn't that good. This offensive line is not well built. If you can get to CJ, they're not going to put points. They're going to be able to put up points. And it's been shown. You said it in our last show. Like, we're like the worst second half team offensively
in the league.
I think we're 30th out of 32 on that one.
Yeah,
the other 2. Who are the other 2? Like Carolina and freaking
Saints,
Jacksonville,
Saints probably. Oh, by the way, fuck the Saints.
He's been dying to say that.
I've been dying to say. I haven't said that in a minute. And they lost to Carolina, so shout out Carolina. Shout out Jalen Coker. I'm still waiting for my jersey.
No, but like not just the offensive line, but just the play call and the second half adjustments. It's been
there's been no
adjustments in the second half. Honestly, like what do you do out there, bro? Are you just looking at the menu? Like
there's been no adjustment. We go into every single halftime somewhat competitive, and that third quarter comes around and the game just gets away.
Yeah. Well, because teams make adjustments. That's what you do at halftime. You make adjustments to try to win the game. I don't know what the offense does for adjustments. Like what
adjustment was like, what we should do, guys? Davante Adams, let's just put Petrie on him.
Yeah,
let's just do that.
Let's put the worst person in coverage to cover their best wide receiver. That should pay off dividends. It did not.
At the end of the day, it's still Aaron Rodgers, dude. You can't give that guy that much time to cut you apart because he will cut you apart.
Slice you and dice.
When Will Anderson went down, that was like once he went down, I was like, oh, this game's over.
Yeah.
It was bad, man. It was bad all around.
I think with the Jets did expose a lot of weaknesses in the Texans. Like it was for sure that. I know the Texans are right now. They don't expect the Texans to make any trades tomorrow, right? Is a trade deadline tomorrow. So. Yes, this is being recorded on a Monday night. So it definitely there's no expectation that they've been signing and guys, guards, offensive linemen to the practice squad. So that kind of tells you, hey, it may be an upgrade of what they have right now. You never know, but not. I wouldn't hold my breath for that. I don't think that's going to be the thing that saves the Texans season. Just replacing guys because right now, I'll put it to you this way: it's like It's like a teacher quitting mid-year and you have to replace him or her with a substitute that you picked up from somewhere and try to expect that substitute to teach at the same level as that teacher. Boom.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess the train of thought is have these guys that are practice squad levels guys. They were sitting on their couch a few weeks ago. I guess have them try to like push the starters. So like, hey, if you don't play well, we'll bench you for this person.
Replace you.
That's the only thing I could really think of because most of the deals are going to be on the practice squad. Like I guess they're there to push them. But like going back to King of the Hill when they had Bobby on the track team, and anytime that someone was being kind of slacking in practice, they would have Bobby take over for them. Like
he was a stick
race.
He was a stick.
He was the stick. I think these guys are going to be the stick.
Yeah.
Oh man.
This Houston Texans team is just it feels like this season's just a throwaway at this point.
It's starting to slip away a little bit because they're coming to the tougher part of their schedule, and it's kind of hard to trust them to do anything.
I mean, right now they're 6-3, but honestly, it doesn't feel like that because even the wins that they've had, they've all been so close. Like they beat the Bills by a field goal, they beat the They beat Jacksonville by by 1 possession. They beat the Colts by 1 possession. The only good game you could argue was against the Patriots, but it's the Patriots.
Yeah, they have the worst record in the league.
Lost against the Packers, a game that was very winnable.
Could have been won. It was a winnable game.
Against the Jets, like
that was still a winnable game. If they don't fumble in the red zone, if they don't miss those 3 field goals,
and then Joe Mixon is having such a great season, and then you take the ball away from his hands when CJ can't make it work. And I'm getting a phone call. 1 second.
No, like we had mentioned on our other show, like Mixon was on pace for almost 200 yards of rushing. He almost had 100 at halftime, and then they barely gave him the ball in the second.
They cut him off. I don't understand that. If that's your rhythm, they were getting in rhythm offensively, and it alleviates that pressure off of CJ. With Joe Mixon being able. That's one of the reasons why you got Joe Mixon to begin with, to alleviate some of that pressure.
Not have the entire burden on Stroud's shoulders, but like after the Jets scored that first touchdown in the second half, it's like I don't know if Bobby felt like, oh, we need to match them. Like, no, stick to your game plan. Keep giving the ball to Mixon. The Jets struggled to stop Mixon, and you basically decided to do these 5-7 step drop passes that clearly took too long to materialize. Your pass rush can't, they couldn't negate the pass rush. Your quarterback's running for his life. You go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and your defense gets worn out, and they got burned on those long passes and on that long touchdown to Devontae to basically ice the game.
Yeah. At that point, like, if you're leaving your defense out that long and you have to constantly punt it, it's the same cycle that people have seen the Texans do over and over and over and over for years. Fourth down punt, fourth down punt. It's the same cycle that the Texans fans have seen for years, and it's crazy because no matter who it was at the helm, whether it was with Gary Kubiak, whether it was with Dom Capers, whether it was with Bill O'Brien, Lovie Smith, David Culley, it was always that punt, all that. It's like, oh my goodness, we couldn't remember there was a point where the Texans couldn't. For like a long time, the Texans couldn't get anything going on the very first opening drive, and then they would have to punt.
They went seasons between scoring and opening drive.
Yeah. And it didn't matter who was at the helm. It wouldn't matter who it was at the coach at the time. And it was, I don't know, it was beyond wild to me how that is something that wasn't addressed. And now, with people being hopeful for this season, and now you're regressing back to that. And it's like, come on.
You can't use the injuries as an excuse. I think Patrick Starr put it on Twitter earlier.
Storm.
Oh, Patrick Storm, sorry. Yeah, Patrick Storm, sorry. Wrong Patrick.
Wrong Patrick.
Yeah, Patrick Storm. He had put on Twitter earlier that Baker Mayfield's moving the ball up and down the field against the Chiefs, the best team in the league right now. Without Chris Godwin, without Mike Evans, without much of a run game. Still moving the ball, and they're winning right now, Monday Night Football. Like, Houston can't use the excuse that Diggs is out and Nico is out, because look what Baker's doing with
limited receivers and stuff like that.
Be less talent at the receiver position right now than what Houston has, even with the injuries. Like,
yeah, 100%. I agree. It's a great valid point, and I mean, I think overall, it's. I think you brought it up several times. A lack of creativity, a lack of preparation. It's at this point, it's like it's coaching. It's a lot of it has to do with coaching, the personnel, and it all stems to the guys at the top. I mean, Chris Strouser, the offensive line coach for the Houston Texans. I mean, it's the second year in the league, and I mean, excuse me, in with the Texans. My apologies, with the Texans, and I mean, it's a position. He's to the point where it's like this isn't really his bread and butter. This particular scheme isn't his bread and butter. So, last season, he did what he did, and then you have the offseason to prepare maybe for this particular offensive scheme, which is pretty similar. I mean, it's the same thing, but it didn't do anything. It actually got worse. So I'm not sure what's going on with the Strouser.
What are we talking about?
It got
Chris
worse.
Strouser, the offensive line coach.
Like, how does it get worse with better players? It doesn't make sense.
It got worse with better players, and that's the thing. And I think somebody brought it up. I can't remember. It's an expensive O-line. It's a very expensive O-line.
The highest paid offensive line in the league.
Is it the highest paid in the league?
You have over $130 million invested in the offensive line, and they play like XFL linemen right now.
And last year,
put
like a
some
lot of people,
respect on the Roughnecks, okay?
but the thing is, last season I know there was a lot of complaints from several fans about the offensive line. But last season, I remember we were
It was
sticking up
mainly
for them
injuries,
because,
though. Like,
but we were sticking up for them. We were like, no, it's really not the offensive line that was an issue last season. Yes, they had their issues. Yes, there were injuries, but even with the injuries, they were holding their own.
I feel like the defense was more of a liability last year.
The defense last season was more of a liability. Petrie, was nobody knew what was happening with Petrie.
Yeah, no, he wasn't. He would have one good game every 5 games. Something like that.
And so like last season, it was more on the defensive side than it was offensively.
Yeah, Petrie was injured too as well. No, not Petrie.
And so
Stingley was injured.
But even I think we had brought it up. Even against that Steelers game, always like lives rent free in my head because you had an abysmal. You had you really at that point had an offensive line that was being held together by prayers and duct tape, as Rios likes to say it, and they protected CJ Stroud so well against TJ Watt, and now you have on paper. Remember, we kept saying the word on paper. On paper, now you have an offensive line who's supposed to be better than what they had last season, and yet something isn't clicking. Like I've said, Shaq Mason, he's fallen off the face of the earth this season. The Kenyon Green Revenge Tour had 1 or 2 stops, if any.
Over before they started, bro.
It's null and void, and Titus Howard is just I don't think he's the answer at right tackle. I think this is probably his last season with the team. Probably look to move him in the offseason and see what they have in Blake Fisher. I mean, honestly, I would make that move right now. Because you have got nothing from the right side of the offensive line. You've got nothing from the interior. Like, I get why they brought some of these practice squad guys, why they worked out La'el Collins. He hasn't played in a while due to injuries, but he's a dude that, he started off as a tackle, but he played some guard when it was the Bengals. I mean, at this point, I just got to try something different. It's insanity running the same group out there expecting different results. They honestly, it doesn't seem like they care. Like, they don't seem like they care, man.
There's no hustle. There's no, lack of self-discipline, really, at some points, what I've seen.
Yeah, like when your franchise quarterback's getting hit all game and he's having to pick himself up, he gets, I forgot what game it was, where he got hit, late out of bounds on the sideline. Not a single person came to his defense.
Yeah.
Like, it's,
I don't know, man. It's I'm just hoping, and this the crazy time is that you're going through this in a time where this is that quarterback window, like you brought up real several times. It's a quarterback window where this is the time where you should be taking the most advantage of this situation while your quarterback is cheap.
Yeah, because before you know it, you're gonna have to give him like a 5-year, $400 million contract, and you won't be able to afford an O-line at all.
Because the 49ers are about to run into this problem. They're going to have to pay Brock Purdy. Like, they had the Avengers when he was, making 7th-round pick money, but they're going to have to pay the guy in. They're going to lose.
Yeah, at least they made a couple of Super Bowls. Like the Texans, the way they're built right now, they're not going to make it past the first round.
Oh yeah, a wild card win would be a gift at this point. So like, it feels, what's a good word to say this?
Like shit.
Abysmal.
No, it's a disgrace. The wasting a year of Stroud's rookie deal. It feels like it's a disservice, honestly.
Yeah.
It's
a waste. It's a waste.
And that's our word of the day: disservice.
Disservice. Because
you double jeopardy. The daily double.
Everyone was like, no, they won the offseason. You got, Daniil Hunter, you got Stephon Diggs, you had all these pieces, and you come out and just play like complete ass most of the season. Like, honestly, they should be 2-6. A couple plays go a different way. They're like Jacksonville, 2-6 looking towards the draft. Like, they were lucky to be at 6-3, and they got a tough stretch coming up. Before Dallas, you would think that it would be a tougher game, but without Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb banged up, they should be able to win that. But that's just giving you false hope at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. At that point, let me see. As far as I'm looking at the Texans schedule, you got you got the Lions, and after the Lions, you got the Titans. So I apologize. You have the Cowboys. The Cowboys should be a winnable game. Then it's the Titans, and then it's the Jaguars. You should theoretically have 3 victories there. And then you got the Dolphins, which I still think it should be another victory.
Dude, the way it's been looking, I have no idea, man.
And that's the thing, theoretically, right? That's the thing. Yeah. So you should be like, you're going to get dominated by the Lions, but at least after that, your schedule gets lighter right before you face the Chiefs, right before Christmas or on Christmas.
Also, you face the Chiefs. They played 3 games in 10 days. You're going to play the Chiefs. You're going to play the Ravens. No, they played the Dolphins and they played the Chiefs on the short week.
Yeah.
3 days later, they're playing the Ravens on Christmas Day. Like, it's insane. Like, I know the NFL is all about player safety. What is safe about having not just them, but multiple teams playing 3 games in 10 days? Like,
yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's head over to, since we were talking about the Lions game, let's head over because we got about a few more minutes left. Let's head over and talk about the expectations against the Lions game, where the Texans are going to debut that beautiful battle red uniform with the candy paint chrome guard at the front, and the horns. It's going to look they're going to look great, both teams, because I think the Lions are wearing the black and blue uniforms against the Texans colors, obviously in primetime here. I just hate the fact that the Texans are going to lose in battle red uniforms, which they're going to look. If you're going to lose, you better at least look your best. Well, I mean, how bad are we looking here, boys?
They have a losing record on the battle red unis as it is. Every time they wore them, they would get demolished with the previous uniform, and I think we're gonna be due for another beating in those battle reds.
And it's gonna be a bad one. It's gonna be a bloodbath, dude.
It's fitting that we're in red because it's gonna be a bloodbath.
The Lions have been
on a tear.
Best team in the league, my opinion.
Best team in the league, in my opinion. Right? They beat the Packers, something Texans couldn't do. They destroyed the Titans. Beat the Vikings, again, something the Texans. I mean, we got decimated by them. Yeah. They embarrassed the Cowboys. Killed the Seahawks, beat the Cardinals. The last game they lost was against Tampa Bay, who are no slouches. Tampa Bay is actually pretty solid, but since that loss in week 2, they've been on an absolute tear. And the way the Texans been playing, it's not even going to be close.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not even going to be close. It's going to be a repeat of the Minnesota game. It's going to be like a 20-something point deficit.
Easily.
It's going to be a mess this Sunday. I don't expect anything.
Is the defense hasn't allowed any quarterback to pass for 175 yards. They haven't allowed any rusher to get in over 100 yards. So they play really well at home. The defense does, but the offense, they just shoot themselves in the foot. I don't know what they do during practice during the week.
And even if Nico comes back, I don't think he's going to change the Texans' fortune that much.
Maybe he adds a few more points to the board, but I mean, they still struggle in the most basic of things, just lining up correctly, getting up.
This Lions offense, it's probably the best offense the Texans have faced so far this year, and the way they've been playing, dude. Even if the defense comes in and plays a perfect game, I do not see the Texans coming away, even giving them a competitive game.
No.
So at this point, why don't let's go over to predictions and see, okay, what are our predictions for the Texans Sunday night football game in primetime? How bad is this game going to look for the Texans? Poppy, I want you to go first really quick. What are we looking at? What is your score prediction? How bad is it going to be?
The fact that it's in primetime makes it that much worse because everybody and their mom is going to see how bad it is.
Everybody.
Dude, I'm thinking like a 35, 34, 9. Yeah. I don't see the Texans, like, unless Joe Mixon has like another really solid game
of his life.
Which by at this point, the Lions know, they really can't do nothing in the air right now because all their weapons are injured. And the only way they've been getting points is with Joe Mixon, and the ominous Tank Dell random touchdown. Like let's just clog up the running game, and they'll have nothing to come at us with. So unless Joe Mixon like kind of overcome that, I don't see the Texans getting points any other way than nothing but field goals. So I'm betting the over on Kaimi for points, but as far as anything else, I don't see the Texans putting up that many points. I'm gonna say 34-9.
Okay, all right, 34-9. Rios, what is your take on this, bro?
Yeah, like we've noticed with the Lions, one play and they just get rolling. I think it's going to be here. I think it's going to be the same thing here in Houston. It'll probably be close the first quarter, maybe. And then you're going to have like a long Jahmyr Gibbs run, or they're going to have a trick play that goes for like 80 yards, and they just open the floodgates and just run them out of the building. Like we saw what they did with the Cowboys. I think they're going to be the first team to crack 60 points this season.
Wow, that bad.
Yeah, 63-17. All those 17 points come in garbage time.
All right. On this one, I'm going to say 28-7 for me, and that's if Nico Collins comes back. I just don't think that the Texans are going to fix all of their problems within an elongated week, of course. I know they didn't play this Sunday, but they played last Thursday. Even in a long week like that, it's very unlikely that the Texans have fixed all of those underlying issues. So I'm going to say the Texans lose 28-7 with Nico Collins back. And you know what? Maybe a Joe Mixon touchdown along there. So, and that's,
like you're being
generous,
too generous to them.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is at this point.
But if there's a time to prove me wrong, Texans,
please prove us wrong. We would love to look like idiots like we normally do. We would love to look like idiots. But don't make us look right. Don't give us that credibility.
Not this week, at least.
Not this week.
Like, seriously.
It's funny because I gave the defense their flowers, saying, they've held people to under 75 yards, under 100 yards rushing. And then I say they're going to score 63 on them. You know how hard it is to say that?
Yeah.
It's weird. I get it.
It hits you right here in the heart. Like, oh.
I have a pain in my chest.
And the way the Lions offense works, they could score 6 touchdowns without, throwing 200 yards.
They have weapons. That's the thing. The two-headed monster. Who'd you call two-headed monster on running back?
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. David Montgomery, who's a battering ram, and then you have Jahmyr Gibbs, who's basically like your scat back. You can have him lined up in the backfield, line him as a receiver, and he'll get yards. They've lined up linemen, offensive tackles, had run go routes for them, and have caught touchdowns. Like Ben Johnson is like probably the best play caller in the league right now by far, and he's clearly going to have his pick of the litter as far as coaching jobs. I think with Bobby Slowick, he's probably the way he's had this offense operate. I don't think he gets a coaching job this offseason.
He shouldn't.
He won't get honestly, I don't see him coming back this season. If they underperform, I don't see him coming back.
So far, that's all they've been doing, underperforming. Like the whole team feels like they have regressed. Even with the added weapons, even without the injuries. It just seems like they're a worse team than they were last year. And at this point, I'm just hoping this week goes by fast so we can talk about the battle for Texas against the Cowboys.
Well, yeah, when you were on the phone earlier, like me and Carlos was talking, like Patrick Storm had tweeted out, Baker Mayfield's moving the ball up and down the field, missing Mike Evans and missing Chris Godwin. We can't use the excuse of no Nico and no Diggs because Tank Dell is better than any receiver on the Buccaneers right now, and they're still moving the ball. Our tight ends are better than anyone they have, and they don't have much of a run game either, and they're still able to move the ball.
It's that offensive line, dude.
Yeah.
It's that offensive line.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, we're gonna end it here. You heard our predictions, and we're doubling down on those. So, guys, check us out. Again, the consistency is coming with us on our show. It's what we do. It's the part where we like to hang out. It's for the fans. So that's gonna be it for us this week. Check us out next week when we come back, and hopefully the Texans have proven us wrong. If not,
hopefully a victory Monday, not another lamentation Monday, because I can't take any more.
Exactly.
I'm telling you,
if we'll be here for you.
And I said it on our other show, if we get beat by like 50 plus points, I'm not doing the show on Monday.
He's doing the Anthony Richardson where he's going to call.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. I can't. I won't.
Yeah.
You will not force me to go through that.
Poppy, what happened? I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I was just tired.
I was tired.
All right, guys, that's gonna be it for us. Check us out next week, man. Hopefully it's a win, but very doubtful. But regardless, we'll be here and talk it through. This is your unofficial Texans therapy session. All right, guys. See y'all later. Peace.
Southwest A-League, Texas, throw down here and it's so infectious. We ride for the Houston Astros, Rockets, Dynamo, and them Texans. If you ain't never been down here, but rule number one, you gon' respect us. Just fans hit my speakers, new one drop, they bout to bless us. I might right through the SWAT, playing just fans right through your spot. Look, and I don't know what you thought, but right here, dog, we gon' rep